Okay, so it's noon. And just let's go ahead and get started. And I'm just going to give a few words about our organization. That way we give people a few minutes to join in while you get to know us a little bit more. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to AIA Houston. I am Linda Camacho, Committee Chair for AIA Houston Latinos in Architecture, also known as LEAH. If you did not know, we do have, there are various LEAHs throughout the nation, and there's 6 of them here in Texas, and Houston did not have one until 2019. So it's good that we started this organization. I would like to say a few words about our organization before we get started. This would give you the opportunity, this would give people that are running late a few minutes before our presentation, and also give you an opportunity to know a little bit about us. Latinos in Architecture Houston strives to bring awareness of the Latino culture through architecture, art, cuisine, music, and language. LEAH provides mentorship program opportunities for middle school, high school, and college students, as well as professional development opportunities and spotlighting the architecture and culture of Latin American countries. Visit the AIAHouston.org calendar for upcoming events and become a LEAH member. Everyone is welcome to join. At the end of the program, we will take questions from the audience. Please use your chat function to type in your questions, or you can raise your hand. Like I said, a few housekeeping rules. Be sure you are muted, and at the end of the presentation, I will call you if you raised your hand, or ask Luis and Cesar your questions if you've noted them in the chat. This is a roundtable discussion, so at the end of the presentation, everyone can show your video, so that way we can see you face to face and not just see us. We really want to make it more of a roundtable discussion. So now it's my pleasure to introduce to you our guest speakers for today, Cesar Dominguez and Luis Herrera, both LEAH members. Cesar Dominguez and I are two out of the 4 founding members of Latinos in Architecture. So with that, I am going to turn this over to the 2 of them. Guys, it's all yours.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone who is attending today. I want to thank AIA Houston for opening the space. Thank Linda also for her important support while developing this presentation. Cesar is going to be doing half of this presentation. Hopefully we get to take turns every other couple subjects. So
but before you get started, let Cesar say hello, because I know you're ready to run.
Hello, let's go. Let's move on, don't worry.
Okay, hi Cesar.
Hello.
So first of all, I would like to talk about the objective of this presentation. This is a presentation that it's intended to be a tool for foreign architects educated abroad in order to understand, navigate, and meet all the requirements that are necessary for licensure in the US. We're going to focus particularly in the requirements for the licensure in Texas. I would like to make a note. This is a very simplified presentation about the process that sometimes might be perceived as a little intricate, but we're doing our best here to try to make it more
easy to follow. The other thing, Luis, I forgot to mention to everyone is that this presentation is being recorded, so you can find it on the website. And we are also going to have this presentation, the PDF file on the website, and have the various links that you need in order to access. And I know, Jennifer, you were going to put some additional information there of also organizations within AIA that you can join if you want to be part of a study group.
Okay, I am I'm sure that a lot of familiar faces are very familiar with some of
And
these
that's
terms.
more.
But I'm sorry.
That's okay. It just keep
Yeah.
going.
So if you're pursuing the path to licensure, you're going to have to get familiar with the terms that you're looking at. Credentialing authority. You're going to need to know what your jurisdiction is going to be. You need to know what NCARB certificate is and what's the difference with an NCARB record. What registration and licensure involves, and the concept of unlimited practice. So get familiar. This document is going to be downloadable, as Linda said. I'm going to try to go through this information quickly so we get enough time for questions and discussion. Cesar?
Hey, okay, I'm going to talk a little bit just to make it very short about licensure. I think most of us know what it is, but pretty much it's just becoming an architect and going to school and having your degree doesn't actually make you an architect in the US. So in order to call yourself an architect, you need to be licensed. You need to be licensed in each and every state. So before you can do that, NCARB needs to issue a certificate. So that's one of the things and topics we're going to discuss today. How quickly we get to be certified by NCARB.
Now, most of you must be wondering what NCARB is. If you're not familiar with it, this is the National Council of Architecture Registration Boards. It's a nonprofit organization made up of the architectural licensing boards of all of the 55 US states and territories. Maybe Cesar, would you want to talk about the why is licensure important?
Yes, I mean, I think we all know without being a license, I mean, you're not going to be able to practice architecture or actually sign and seal documents and do your own work if you want to. I mean, being without your license, you're going to have to be pretty much always working on the supervision of a licensed architect. There's in the state of Texas, you actually can do and you're allowed to practice architecture or pretty much design certain type, mostly residential and some small commercial. But after certain size, you need to be licensed and need to be registered. But still, you cannot call yourself an architect. Being licensed, you can just go ahead and just do whatever you want to do on your own. You don't have to work for anybody else. And getting your license, I mean, it's not easy. It's not impossible. It's just being, I mean, just trying to work on it and just try to fulfill all the requirements. I mean, it's a day-by-day process until you get your license. It's not rocket science. It's just more perseverance.
Now, we can start talking about now about the process of getting licensed. It's a 4 steps process. The first one, determining your applicant category. You need to look into the 4 applicant categories and see which one you fit best. We're gonna go over real quick the first 3 of them, because you can be either a foreign architect educated in a NAB accredited program. You could be a foreign architect educated and licensed in mutual recognition countries, part of this mutual recognition agreement. Those are Australia, Canada, Mexico, or New Zealand. You could be C, foreign educated architect, member of agencies recognized by the Canberra Accord, or D, foreign architect educated abroad, which is considered a common option to licensure. This is the one option that we're gonna talk a little deeper about. But I would like to go over real quick the first 3 of them. The first is the foreign architect educated in the NAB accredited program. This is an education related credential. So you can log into nab.org and figure out if your school is part of a NAB accredited program. You
Most
can,
most likely, Luis,
yeah,
if it's not in the US, most likely your school is not going to be NAB accredited. So
yes,
I don't know of any outside of the US that actually are.
yes, there are.
Maybe Canada, I think, some of the
Oh,
Canadian,
And
Mexico, I don't think so.
no, but
Mexico, I don't
Canada.
think it is.
there are some schools that have accredited their architecture program as part of a NAB. Some of them in South America, some of them in Spain, and I believe Luis Ayala was
Paraguay.
went to school in Paraguay, and his school was part of a NAB accredited program. So yes, there is some. I'm sure that if you go into the webpage or you look into the information of your own university, you can figure this out. But it's not very common. This is mostly for universities within the 55 United States.
Yeah, and that's
And
for the NAB accreditation is not for the school, it's for the program. So
Yeah.
it's going to depend if you went to school in the 80s or in the 90s. I mean, it's that program that is going to apply. I mean, your school can be accredited right now, but probably in the 80s or 90s or 10 years ago, it wasn't. And so
that's correct.
yeah. So, but any questions? I mean, we'll look at the end. I mean, if you're part of this or not part of it, just ask us and we'll try to guide you. What do you need to do?
Yeah. Now, the mutual recognition agreement applies only for people educated or licensed in Australia, Canada, Mexico, or New Zealand. The document that you'll be able to download has the links to the different agreements. It would look something like this. This is the one for Mexico. And this one's based on the Tri-National Mutual Recognition Agreement. You can look into that by logging into the webpage as well, going into NCARB webpage as well. You can also get licensed through the Canberra Accord by being in one of the Commonwealth countries or one of the other ones listed here: Australia, Canada, China, Korea, Mexico, and the US. Now, you will need to be part of Canberra recognized institutions to be able to go through this path. So again, if you want to go over that information, you can go to canberraaccord.org and look into the requirements. Now, we're going to focus and start talking about the foreign architect educated abroad, which is the common option for licensure. This is the path to licensure in the United States for foreign either educated applicants or foreign licensed applicants. These two categories have little difference on the way that you get eligibility for the license, but you go through the same path when it comes to the requirements and the hoops you need to jump through. Cesar, if you want to talk about eligibility.
Okay, first the number 2.
And if you want to.
So the way I did it, it was that I can talk about my experience. It was the foreign educated applicant. Even if I was licensed in Mexico, I found that it was easier just to go through the whole process because most of the Mexican institutions is just it's hard to get an official document from them and then actually get it accepted here. The other issue that I found with being a foreign license applicant, and I don't know if it still applies, probably you and Luis and Linda can know about this, but I think you need to still, even if they accept, NCAR accepts that, you still need to go to the board and have some sort of exam with them, or some. I think they still do some
Yeah.
So you need to you need to pay them, I don't know, $1,500 or whatever, and then get in front of the board. They're gonna question you, ask whatever. You need to bring a portfolio and all of that, and then they will decide if they accept it or not. That was in my case. That's why I decided not to do that. To just go with the foreign educated applicant. When I did that, I went through EESA, which is the one that is gonna accept your program, which is being translated from in my case, from Spanish to English, and they accepted all the credits, and they say how many credits I was missing. That's the first step. And then the second step is one they accept and they approve it, they send it to NCARB, and NCARB is pretty much just one step. I mean, once EESA gives you the green light, NCARB doesn't have any issues. You're pretty much good to go and start taking your exams.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna make a clarification here for both the licensed and educated applicant. You will need to go through evaluation process. This the current information that's out there from NCARB. For the licensed applicant, you're gonna need to, if you're licensed in your current country, you're gonna need to confirm that your jurisdiction that you're applying for is going to accept an NCARB certificate. You're gonna have to create your NCARB record. That's basically getting in there, logging in, creating an account for yourself, getting your university to submit your education verification directly to NCARB, and getting the institution that regulates the practice of architecture in your country to also send a verification form to NCARB. So these two last requirements, these two last forms that the university and the institution need to send directly to NCARB, you would not have to do it if you're just going to apply as a foreign educated applicant. That means if you're not licensed in your country of origin, you skip that confirmation of jurisdiction. You go directly to get your NCARB record open in the NCARB website, and you complete an ESA foreign education evaluation, which is a little more demanding than just asking your university to send your transcripts and the verification form to NCARB. This will require for you to submit a lot of more paperwork, and it's also a little more costly. So that's why I would recommend you guys, if you can get licensed, or if you're licensed in your own country, to go back and go over the foreign licensed applicant route.
So,
yes.
Luis, on this, I think you and Cesar disagree, right? Because Cesar, you're saying proceed, the easier one is foreign educated applicant than the licensed one.
It's true. No, I don't disagree. It is true.
No, I'm just saying, I'm just making sure, because I know right now we're just saying common option to licensure. I just think that we need to present things based on like, this is the stuff that you need to do. And there's some that are easier and others that are more time consuming. And we know that each item is going to be different based on each person's process or the documentation, how easy it is to obtain documents from their country or not. So
yes, I agree with Cesar. Foreign educated applicant route is easier. It's less steps on it. It's a little more costly, and it's a little more paperwork. But I think
it's a little more straightforward than trying to deal with other entities. And
so it's very clear, the foreign license applicant is 4 hoops you need to jump through, and the foreign educated applicant is just 2. In order to gain eligibility, just to get the eligibility.
Yeah, I mean, to get to that point, I mean, you might not be eligible, you know, after you present all the documents. It's not like they're not going to give it to you just because you're presenting all the documents, right?
Yes.
So they're still to evaluate.
you still have to review it.
You turn in all the requirements, and it's going to take them 60 business days to come back to you and let you know if you can start taking the exams and reporting your hours, which is the next step I'm going to talk about. The step 3 is about the experience and examination. It's pretty simple. You need to pass the ARE exams and report the enough amount of experience hours under the AXP program. So I'm going to talk about both of these. AXP program is an experience recording program that NCARB has developed in order for the candidate to report or document the amount of experience hours that either this person has, because you can report them from experience hours that you already did, or hours that you will be working and that you will be reporting working under the supervision of a licensed architect. Now, the requirement is 3,700, a little over 3,700 hours. That's almost 2 years of work on a full-time under the supervision of a licensed architect. This could be split if you're working half part-time for someone, or you started working when you were in school. All these different ways of reporting either experience that you already gathered or that you are going to get. You can go into those details by logging into the NCARB website and downloading the AXP handbook, so you get familiar with that. So this is a platform. They even have an app. It's super easy for you to set your supervisor. You pick your supervisor, and obviously a supervisor needs to be on board, and you'll be reporting your experience hours, and the supervisor will be going over the different areas of expertise and either approving them or going over them with you. You can cut your 3,700 hours of experience by reporting prior experience that you've accomplished in the past. Now I'm going to talk about the ARE. This is, it used to be the 4.0. Now this is the 5.0 version. 5.0 version includes or require for you to pass 6 exams. The 6 divisions are laid out in a way that you can go through them and take the exams in any order. They're not consecutive, and the tools and resources for you to go over the content of these exams are available. There's multiple sources, but AIA particularly has an emerging professionals committee that coordinates study sessions and make resources available for candidates that are preparing to take the ARE. If you want to look into the upcoming event, it's a pub quiz. They're putting it together. I think this one's going to be online. Here's a link. It's going to be on the document that you'll be able to download. And
Luis, this is after they've submitted all their
Yeah.
paperwork and have been given go ahead by NCARB.
Eligibility is step 2, and pretty much is the breaking point for you to start documenting and reporting your experience hours. And this step 3 is basically enabled by getting the eligibility. So essentially, once you get eligibility, you're able to schedule your exams, you're able to go in and create an AXP account, and it's the starting of the in a way of the path. It's for me, it's the where the path begins for you to get the license, because eligibility is all paperwork, but the road.
But you can be eligible. You can be allowed to take the exams without having all your hours, right?
Yes.
Yes. But you do need NCARB to approve you, and they literally give you that certificate to then be able to take that exam.
Yeah, whenever you're done with your hours and your time, I mean, you can get.
No, I'm talking about taking your exam. You don't have to be done with your hours, but you cannot start an exam without having your paperwork approved first.
Now, yes, it's very important to clarify that if you want to get licensed, you need to have completed both the AXP and the exams, and you can take all the exams and then start reporting hours, or you can start reporting hours ever since you started working, even as a student, and then take the exams, no matter the order, or if you want to do them at the same time, like I did. that's fine. There's no requirement on the order of
Right.
for them to
I
be.
was just talking about step 2, that once they say you're approved, then you can do step 3. That's
Yes.
the paperwork I'm saying they need to approve.
Yes, the platform is not going to allow you to
Take the test, yeah.
take exams or report hours if you haven't gotten eligibility. Now, you can have a record number since you open an account, and that record number is going to allow you to log in and look into your account and look at all the resources that NCARB's got in there. But it's not going to allow you to schedule exams or start reporting hours.
And that costs around $200, right? $300 a year.
I don't
What's
know.
that again?
It costs like $300 a year to keep your NCARB.
No, I thought it was less.
Yeah, it's a little over $200 to reinstate, not reinstate that to for renovation of your NCARB account. It's $100 to open it and $200 if you're a licensed architect. If you're a student, I think it's a little under $100. I think it's $80 to renew it. But at some point we talked about including the fees in this presentation for each of these steps,
Yeah,
but that would not be that
No,
would
just
never
that-
be up to date because they're always changing.
Yeah, but
I would encourage
just
people
a
to go into the
ballpark,
websites and look into that.
just a ballpark number so everybody knows. I mean,
Yeah.
because and ESA, I think it's around probably around $1,500 to $1,000 these days.
No, they just need to go on and look, because like Luis said, he has a tabulation and it changes, and it's not best that we call out numbers.
Okay.
That's why we just want to provide them links, and they can go directly, because within the link, you're always, they update the stuff instead of us trying to keep up that file updated. So step 4, who's talking about that?
Accessories.
What is step 4?
Meet location-specific requirements,
Okay, so we're gonna talk about
AKA
state of-
Texas.
Yes. So pretty much once NCARB, I mean, just they say, okay, you already passed all your exams. NCARB sends us a certificate or that transmittal to the state, Texas or any other state you're going to get registered. And the state, I mean, it's just a matter of paperwork. They get the transmittal, they plug you in, sign you in, you pay another fee. I think it's like less than $200, even if you want to say it. And that's every year if you want to keep your license and you continue education. But for the state of Texas, that's the only step. I mean, you have to do more. The only states that I know is California and Florida, where you need to take an additional exam to get registered. But I think, Luis, you were saying it's like an open book thing. California, I think, is just for earthquakes. Florida is for hurricanes. So there's a little bit more info that they want you just to.
Yeah, so I would just add, Cesar, that when we're talking about all of the states, some of them have additional criteria you need to meet, but in the case, the specific case of Texas, you can do it 2 ways. You can either register by examination, or you can go for registration by reciprocity. In the registration by examination, you just need to go in there, create your Texas board account. Well, I'm going to call it the TBAE, the Texas Board Architectural Examination, Architectural Examiners. Then you need to provide, this is very important, you need to provide TBAE your proof of legal status. So this is gonna open the door for questions about immigration status or work visas or origin even. So that would need to be directed to immigration lawyer. We're not gonna go over that information, at least not in this presentation. After that, you need to go to your NCARB account and request NCARB to forward a copy of your council record to Texas Board after you complete the AXP and exams, obviously. After that, you just need to go through a background check. They're going to take your fingerprints. You need to pay the initial registration fee, as Cesar said, and then you receive your Texas registered architect licensure number. The other way is by reciprocity, which will require the first two steps, which is creating the account, providing your proof of legal status, and then you can do one of these two. You can either request NCARB to send your transmittal of your NCARB record to Texas board, or you can request the state that you're currently licensed on to send the certificate of standing directly to Texas. So this is an option for someone that already went through registration by examination in another state and wants to start practicing architecture in the state of Texas. So you would need to do either one of those two, complete the fingerprint requirement, pay the initial registration fee, and finally getting your license. Some notes and clarifications. There is no national license to practice architecture in the United States, so don't be fooled. Effective English communication is highly recommended. Sometimes the state board will require stricter requirements than NCARB, so be aware. Every state has its own definition of what practicing architecture involves, so get familiar with what practicing architecture for the state of Texas is if you're going for that. Many schools offer architectural programs that have not been accredited by NAB, so you might want to go back and look into the type of architecture program that you got your degree by or under. And not all U.S. jurisdictions accept mutual recognition arrangements. We're talking about the mutual recognition path to licensure, so be on the lookout for that. And finally, holding a degree from a university at any of the Canberra Accord member countries does not necessarily satisfy the education requirement in the United States. So you might need additional education requirements. This, as I said at the beginning, is a very broad, simplified, almost graphic way of putting the route to licensure, specifically for the, generally for the United States and specifically for the state of Texas. But if you want go deeper into the requirements, I would strongly advise for you to go into the NCARB website, the Texas Board of Architectural Examiners website, NAB website, ESA website, and AIA. Visit all the resources that we have. We're AIA Houston Latinos in Architecture. Cesar and I are spearleading the licensing mentorship subcommittee. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us via email, or that's my Instagram if you feel like reaching out or you have further questions.
You're giving your
Instagram, Facebook, all that.
Hey,
I know.
Twitter, Snapchat.
Jennifer's posted the link. All of this has been posted, this presentation on the LEAH website within AIA Houston. The recording from today's presentation will be also uploaded there. So now it's time for Q&A. I do not see any comments or chats on there. So if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or just speak up and let us know what items we can help you with.
And also, I mean, I think we're all available if you just want to later today, tomorrow, or whenever you have a chance. If you have any questions or comments, you can just email any of us and we'll be more than happy to help you out with any of the NCARB, ESA, or dealing with documents from our country. As well, we have contacts with ESA and NCARB, the people we have talked to. That happened on the last meeting we have. So, I mean, they're willing to help all of you to get your license. So, I mean, it looks like they'll they're willing to. So, I mean, whatever we need to figure out, we'll give you a hand and we'll sort
So
out.
Cesar, there is a question, and I know this is something we did not touch on, and it is crucial that we're careful. I know that outside of the United States, as soon as you graduate, you are an architect and you can call yourself an architect. Here in the United States, you cannot call yourself an architect unless you are registered. So the terminology is tricky there, and you have to be careful what you note. So one of the questions was,
Yeah.
if you're applying for a position and you're unlicensed, what are you allowed to call yourself? So it all depends on the position you're applying for, because if you're doing a project manager, project coordinator, because you cannot call yourself project architect. So the equivalent to that is project coordinator.
You shouldn't have the
You are?
architect word in it at all.
Yeah,
Right.
no, if you're applying for the design position within, so some firms have the designer group and then the project managers, project architects, but not an architectural designer. And so the other question is, how long can?
I think Liz wanted to say something in regards.
Yeah, go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, so this question can be broken down into, first is that you're not going to be able to work under the category of an architectural designer. You cannot use the term architecture or architectural or architect anywhere in your title if you don't have a license and if you haven't completed the steps that we just presented. Now, even if your degree is a bachelor in architecture, you're gonna have to stay a intern designer or a drafter. Everything else, it's corporational terminology that might give you a better term for it. But I would strongly advise for you not to do it, because Texas Board is always on the lookout for people that are wrongly using their title. So you might get fined if you do, and not that you're doing it, but be aware.
So something else that people don't know, sorry, Luis, is that there's also, if you go to AIA National, there is a link there, and I don't know, Jennifer, if you want to put it, it lists the salaries and the different position. So you could read under there and see what position applies to your experience level. And then that way you also know how much you're expected to get paid. And it also has it divided between what part of the country you are in. So that's a really good link, and you can read the descriptions of where you fall. So Jennifer, you can put that. And then Luis, the second point.
So the second point is, well, the question was formulated in a way like, what kind of job am I allowed to apply to without a license? So when you're looking into a job description or someone posting an opening, that description is going to tell you if they're requiring the architect or the person that they're trying to hire, they're intending to hire, to be licensed or not. Sometimes they will call it architectural drafter, they will call it architectural designer, but that might not be the title that you're going to be working under. They just want to get the information out about the profile of the opening that they're trying to fill. So
typically it's project manager, project
description.
Architect.
Yeah. Now, any other questions, Linda?
Yeah, so let me proceed on to the next one. How long would licensing process give and take? Typically, you could take to a year, and some people take 5 years.
Yes,
so,
I would need to make reference to NCAR.
You're talking about the exams, I think.
Yeah, that's what she's saying. Well, the licensing
exams?
process, yeah. I'm talking about the exam, but the licensing process.
So here's the deal.
Beatriz, I guess a question, Beatriz, what are you referring to licensing? Like from step 1 and 2, getting all the way to step 4, or just step 4 that we talked about? And if you want to put it in the chat, Beatriz,
so
just
I can break it down, Linda.
Clarify.
So the first step, which is determining your application.
So I guess you can explain how long it took you to just get started with testing before you even.
It took me. I think what we were mentioning about this is how the school and whoever you're reaching to get all your documents from, they're going to respond. So that's critical there. I mean, in Mexico, I mean, I went through a few bombs. It took me, I would say, about a year to get all my documents, get them to EESA, translate everything, and get everything approved from, well, get everything back from EESA, which at that point, they require me to get 3 credits in English 101, which for English 101, you need a prerequisite, which is writing and what is writing and something else? I don't know. So I think I have to take 2 classes, 1 semester, and then English. So I could take English 101 the next semester. So add that another, another year. So that's 2 years. And then for the exams, pretty much took me a year to take all the exams. I mean,
Right.
Linda.
Mm-hmm.
So step 1 is determining your applicant category. That's immediate. Step 2, which is the eligibility portion of it. It'll take you how long you need to get your university and your institution that manages the practice of architecture in your country to send the email. You can even send it via email now to NCAR, but they need to send it directly. So whatever time that takes you, in my case, was a couple months. Depends on how much on your game you are and how much follow-up you also wanna give to this. So it'll be a couple months. And then it's 60 days for NCAR to get back to you. So I would say 4 to 6 months, roughly, for you to get the eligibility verification done. And once you get the approval from NCAR and you are able to schedule your exams, you have a 5-year rolling clock from the time that you pass your first exam. So when you pass the first exam, there's a time frame that gets triggered, and that's a 5-year window that you have to take these exams. Now, the average for a architecture license candidate right now this year was 2.7 years. People do it earlier. There's people that do it in less than, take all the exams and report some hours from a prior experience, or have accumulated experience that they need to report, and they can get away with getting the whole process done in a year, passing step 3, right? Examination and experience. And then the step 4, which is the Texas board registration, that is anywhere between 60 and 90 days, depending on the request for additional information that you're gonna need to
Right.
submit.
So, Luis, can you click on the link? Because I know there's a lot of questions, and I know us that did our university somewhere else, we're architects as soon as we graduate, but here we cannot call ourselves not even intern architect. And so if you look on the link that Jennifer posted where it says salary, if you click on that, you can see the various positions that are and what you can call yourself. And it gives you a description. And so when you read that description, so click on the link, Luis, and let's open it up
I'm
so
looking
people
for
can see it. I suggest that each person review it based on and see which one relates more to the amount of experience you have. So you know what you fall under. And then also know the salary, and you can actually select based on if you're in Texas or if you're somewhere else. It gives you a range like, okay, this is the lowest that this type of person can make, and this is the highest level.
Right.
So did you click on the link?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not looking at it.
No, we're still looking at the other presentation.
You're not seeing this.
it's in the chat.
Now I see it, but it's did you click on it? It's hard to see, but okay, let me continue down. Questions.
You see it now.
Well, we see you moving down. Are you scrolling down?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if you guys can look at all the different positions: CEO, president, managing principal, chief operating officer.
But keep going down to I know there's like
recent college graduate, architectural staff level 1 non-licensed, architect level 1, architectural staff level 2 non-licensed.
But then remember, it does say on there, so when you just click on one that, see the requirement, anything that says architect, it's because they're a registered architect.
Well,
And it'll say on their side, non-registered architect. So click on one that says non-registered.
architectural staff level 1 non-licensed.
Yeah.
So there we go.
And so this is the part where you read in the description to see what falls. I know that we've also had other Venezuelan folks call in, and we understand their situation. So if you contact NCARB, we can send you the link to Brian and Patricia.
What's the
And
question?
they can give you additional information. Oh, because she's saying it's hard to obtain paper from the university.
Oh, okay. So she's from Venezuela, and she's getting.
It's
she's having a
impossible
hard
to
time
get
getting
anything from the university
Yes.
for the requirements.
So you need to contact Brian Vallejo at NCARB. If you reach out to me after the presentation, I can give you his contact. He knows who are the
Just
people
put
that
it
are
on
in
the
Venezuela,
chat.
and that are supposed to be reached out to get all the information that you need sent.
So Brian Vallejo and Patricia, they gave the NCARB presentation we
Yes.
had in December and January. So we'll just put that information in the chat, because anyone that's an international architect, you can reach directly to them and they can give you further information based on your situation. And then the next question. What could you call yourself if you are still unlicensed and specialize in concept design and in rendering? So there
what you
are
mentioned.
technical, positions on there. I do suggest, Beatriz, to go onto the link and just read all the information on there to see what falls on, what you fall under.
Sounds like you're a designer, though.
And then Emal, sorry if I'm not pronouncing correctly, the same for you. I would just click on that link and you can see, but no architecture if you're not licensed. It'll tell you there. Let me look at it because I know there's other options.
Jennifer just posted Brian Vallejo's information.
Oh,
Fabiola.
good. And so someone else was asking the position. So there's the architecture staff level, non-licensed. There's recent college graduate, non-licensed. Architectural staff level 2, non-licensed. Architecture staff level 3, non-licensed. Senior architectural staff, interior designer, non-licensed.
Linda, I think they can go ahead and just probably
and
just
so
find the
I
one
know
that matches their expertise.
I know it's really hard coming from countries that we are architects and it's in our title to come here and not refer to us as architects. And so that hopefully will motivate you to get the paperwork started and getting licensed to then be called an architect. But then you can see all the links that are listed there. There's other questions. It's how long does it take to get eligibility?
Well, as I said, eligibility can take you anywhere between 2 months to, well, it all depends on how much on your game are you. You know, NCARB is going to take 60 days to go over the documentation, but it's you who needs to get them the documentation they need, and it's you that needs to request your university to send the information and the verification form directly to NCARB. And it's you that need to request the, if you're licensed in your country of origin, it's you who needs to ask them to send the verification form, the credential verification form directly to NCARB. So it kind of out there, how long is that going to take? Because it all depends also on the efficiency of those two components, university and the institution that regulates the practice of architecture in your country. But I would say no longer than 6 months if you're on your best game trying to get this thing through.
The next question is, can you record your AXP experience before receiving your eligibility?
No, you can work for someone before you can work, but being in school, you can work for a licensed architect under the supervision of a licensed architect. And when you get your AXP eligibility and you're able to log in and report hours, you can report that time. You can report that time as prior experience if your supervisor is willing to sign them off, sign those hours off. There's a, I believe it's a 6 months, 6 month hour period that you need to break them down into for you to report them, but you would need to go into the AXP handbook to figure that one out.
And they also need to be under the supervision of a registered architect.
Yes,
So
licensed registered architect. Doesn't have to be in the same state that you're applying for, but it has to be
a registered architect.
Registered architect.
So I know, Beatriz, you were asking if you're abroad and if that experience counts, but you're not working under a registered architect of the United States.
I would advise for you to go into the handbook, because there is an option for you to report hours working under other licensed architects in other countries, in foreign countries. There's an option there. It's not going to count as the full time, but there's architects I know that have been able to report hours working under the supervision of licensed architects in foreign countries. So it's a question for the handbook. I would advise you to go in there and download the handbook for the AXP.
Yep.
Hey,
And
Luis,
then Rafael, go ahead.
Luis, is there does AIA, or maybe Jennifer, you, Linda, they have like the AXP just for the interns? Is there a committee or there's a group, that's support group?
Yeah, she already posted the group
Okay.
that they can join. Yep. And so the other question is the link, the information that has been discussed in this video chat. I know there are some links listed in the presentation, and there's some at the end. So that's where you can pull them from. And this is for Rafael. Let's see. And
Good afternoon, this is Bernardo.
Go ahead, Bernardo.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late, but I wanted to ask if I have had like 20 years plus of experience in the field, do I still have to go through the same process, or are there any shortcuts?
Yes, there is the portfolio path to waiving the AXP experience hour reporting. It's under the AXP handbook that you're going to find the portfolio option. I don't know specifics about the process, like timing and the supervision requirement, but you can find that there is a portfolaive option for you to waive that AXP requirement. Now, the exams, you won't be able to waive those. You need to take the exams.
Right. No, I understand that, and I appreciate the response. My question is, again, where is that I can find this portfolio path?
Yeah, in the NCARB website, under the AXP program, there will be a document that you can download. There's it's called the AXP handbook, and look for the chapter 4 is going to be the portfolio path. You need to document your experience in about 91 categories. So it's kind of a task, but it definitely saves you 3,700 hours of reporting.
Bernardo, when you're saying field experience, you're talking about in the architectural field or construction field?
No, in the architectural field.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it
Yes.
would need to be under the supervision of a licensed architect, or there would be also the broadly experienced architect path, but that is not under the AXP handbook. You would need to look for that one in the NCAR page. I'm not sure, but when I was doing this in 2016, 2017, that option was not available then. I don't know if it has become available again, but it's called the broadly experienced architect path to licensure.
Now, one other question, if I may, and probably this was already answered, but I'm just going to ahead and ask, what is currently the process through ESA? Because I've learned from past experience that all the transcripts, they have to go through ESA. Is that still the case?
Not all of them. So if you're licensed in your foreign country where you got your education at,
Yes.
you don't have to go through ESA. You can ask for your university to send verification form directly. The architecture school can send a form directly to NCARB in order for them to evaluate the form and the information in it, and you wouldn't need to go through ESA.
And one probably
Go ahead.
thing that we didn't mention is like, and probably Linda can explain us a little bit. Because you worked for 10 years or more under the supervision of a registered architect, you didn't have to go to ESA or any of that, right? You just went directly to it.
Well, I believe that's no longer available. So I was grandfathered in. And so I didn't have to go through ESA or any of that. It was just 10 years of working under a registered architect here. Then they gave me the notice to go ahead and take my exams.
So I'm sorry, Linda, where can I find that information in regards to ESA, where it describes what you just said, that
I don't think it no longer exists. They removed that.
no longer
No, the
exists?
ESA part's there, but what I
Okay.
went through is no longer available. They removed
Oh,
that.
I see.
Mhm.
So if you look at the two slides that I have right now on, one's
I'm
the
looking
foreign
at it.
licensed applicant, and the other one is the foreign educated applicant. As you can see, the licensed applicant has that pink square is the foreign education verifications, what I was talking about, university sending the verification form. And in the educated applicant, the green one is for ESA. Now, if you want, you can download this document from the website, the AIA website. Jennifer's gonna, I think she already posted this PDF for you to download, and you can find the links that you need here.
Jennifer, if you could, please, that would be great. Greatly appreciated. One other question. So I already have an NCARB file, and I haven't, worked on it for several years. So the first thing that the webpage tells you is that you have to pay, like, I don't know how much it is nowadays, but $350 to reopen it. Is that the case?
Well, I don't know about the fee, but you would need to reinstate your account. Now, the record number you got back then is going to be a record number.
I think it's less. Yeah, I think it's less, Bernardo, because I forget when I'm supposed to. It's like you receive an email. I don't check my personal email that often. And so when I look, it's like, oh, and so my NCARB and TBAE files expire, and then they say, okay, if you want to reinstate it, it's this much. And I thought it was like $85 or $75. So if you already have it, yeah, just like pay for it. It's not, that expensive.
Okay.
It happens to me all the time. I don't do a good job about tracking that.
So again, I apologize for the tardiness, but so what would be the process? And I'm sorry, I'm speaking for myself, but if I already have an NCARB file, okay, which I know I have to reactivate.
A record number, yeah.
The record number. I've already have that. Then what would be the following step?
So have
Provided
you,
I
so,
haven't done anything, basically.
so NCARB hasn't given you the certificate to take your exam, right?
Not at all. Not
So
at all.
you would have to follow one of these steps based off of what Luis was showing you. So you decide if you're going to do the foreign architect or foreign licensed applicant or the other one,
Foreign
the foreign
educated
educated applicant. And so you just need to
So-
submit the paperwork so they can review it and then tell you, yes, you're good to go. Now you can take your exams and start your AXP process. Or yeah, at that point, they let you know if there's something else missing that you need to submit.
Okay, so this is through NCARB.
Yes,
Okay, and what was the other slide? Foreign license applicant? That's
it's
what
also
you-
through NCARB. All of this is through NCARB.
correct.
You have
I would
various
for
options and process.
time's sake, Linda, I would encourage everyone to download the presentation. And if you guys have additional questions, or you can feel free to reach out. I think there's more questions in the feed, aren't there?
I already answered them in the feed. As you were
Okay.
talking to Bernardo, I was answering them. So that's good to go. A lot of the information is more looking into those links that
Mhm.
were in the chat. And then
Yes.
Jennifer, I don't know if we can, I know we can save out the chat information and post it as well. Save chat, we can do that. Because I know we will have some links listed there and responses that people can go back and look at.
Linda, I can do that, or I can pull out the links and post them because I'll include this
Okay.
portion within the recording.
Perfect, thank you.
So where will you post these links, Jennifer?
On the LEAH webpage, the link I've been sending out, but someone asked if I could email it to everybody, and I can do that as well. Once I get the recording up, I will email everybody a link to the recording and the PDF presentation.
Yeah, and
Jennifer,
then,
that would be awesome if you could do that. I know it's a lot of work, time
No, it's
consuming.
no problem.
and that
but,
way you
I
can
will
also,
gladly
yeah,
appreciate it.
Jennifer, if you can include Brian and Patricia's email address on there.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
we can copy them because everyone, this started off, we reached out to NCARB because we saw that this was something that was necessary for our architectural community. We know there's a lot of international architects coming in and there's so much information and don't know how or where to begin. So we tried to do something where it gives you step by step and it's not so long and complicated. And that way it gives you a broad understanding of what you need to do. So then when you start looking for the information, you know, like, oh, this is something that the team already discussed and this is the direction I want to go, or opens up more questions and you can ask us, there's certain things that is best that you contact Brian or Patricia directly from NCARB. They work a lot with international architects and can tell you.
And Linda, is that email address for both?
Jennifer's going to add it. So everything we've discussed today, she's going to send it in that email correspondence.
Okay, I
So
do have
everything in this chat.
a quick question, if I may.
Yes.
So are the are the transcripts from my architectural school back home, are they still, do I still have to submit that to NCARB or any entity, or that's not the case?
No, you still do. Go ahead, Luis.
Yes, you will need to provide those as part of the submittal package that you will send to, that your university will send directly to NCARB. It's going to be your transcripts and the education verification form that you can download at the NCARB website.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
is there a time limit in regards of when did you go to school and the time that you were submitting this? There's not, at least not in the information available. This is part of what they evaluate. So once they get the package, they go through 60 days of evaluation. And if they consider that this needs to be um, complemented with additional education, they'll come back to you. Now, I haven't heard of that case happening.
We also
No,
have a
I-
question from Fabiola going on that discussion about the portfolio.
Yeah.
Can you do the portfolio instead of the AXP? Because there's some that have currently 15 years of experience working with a registered architect. So I
Yes, you
don't know
can.
much about the portfolio process. I have not heard much about that.
Yes, you can. I would again advise you to read into it. It's inside the AXP handbook. Portfolio, it's not going to talk about the time, the amount of time that you've been working, or the amount of time that it's going to talk about the 91 tasks that you need to prove experience on through your portfolio. So you're already an experienced architect. Okay, let's talk about these 91 tasks that you can document us in and prove that you are worth not going through the AXP process. I mean,
And so
I would need to personally, I would need to look a lot back into my emails and the past projects that I've worked in order to fulfill that. But if you have everything together and you think that you can do it, I would look into it too.
Okay, one of our last questions. So Lena, I know as for me, I was born and raised here, but I did my education in Mexico. I went to Universidad de Monterrey. Once I graduated, I returned and I signed up with so here in Houston, it still exists for Gala Associates. And so they place you and your contract worker for an architectural firm. So I worked there for 3 months. And if the architect liked how you worked, they hired you on. And so that's how I started working there, because I was afraid I was not going to get the opportunity because I was not did architecture here in the States. It's just getting your foot into an architectural firm. Do not go into changing your career path. When I say that, I know there's some folks that did architecture. When they come here, they start working under as a plumbing engineer or something like that, or structure engineer. And so we've had folks that have joined Latinos in Architecture Committee because there are architects in their country, but when they came here, they could only work, I guess, as technical staff for these engineers. So there is an opportunity for you to work as an architectural, I know you cannot call yourself architect, but an architectural staff. And then eventually you become a project coordinator if that's the route that you want. You cannot call yourself project architect. And so that's what I ended up doing. I don't know, Cesar, about your experience when you came over, how you got your foot into working in architecture firms. But there
Yeah,
are
it was-
firms that do hire foreign architects.
Yeah.
But you
it
just cannot
was
call
pretty
yourself
much-
an architect. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much what you were saying. I mean, just landing the first job. I mean, that's the one that's going to give you the experience, so you can just put on your resume that you actually have U.S. experience as an architect. That's the difficult part. Once you gain a couple of months, I mean, you can just go and find another job that pays better. So just get your first one.
Yep.
I was able to find one in Seattle, so I could go to Seattle. I mean, but then I came back. So.
And so, Luis, I know you're working, I don't know what your experience was.
Yeah, so I went to school in El Salvador, soy de Salvador. I see a lot of familiar faces here also from my home country, at least familiar names. I came over in 2016 under a work visa that has been a blessing. I was able to join the AIA and NCARB record pretty much the same year I got here and started working on my pathway to licensure. I need to say it seems very intricate because the sources that were available by then were very skippy, and
Yeah.
it's a lot of moving parts.
So, but Luis, you
that-
didn't start working for an architecture firm, or how
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
How did you, where
Been
did you
working
land? Or
starting working under a licensed architect, and that's how I started
you just
reporting to
apply? Yeah.
the AXP. No. I applied on my own, regardless of having been working for a licensed architect. Now I work for a company that, and I must say that this is starting to be the like a common practice, that your company will be supporting you getting this license and paying some of the fees. That's not the rule,
Not all
but it's starting
companies.
to be. Yeah, that's not the rule, but maybe if you're looking into the cost, that's something that you can also go for, maybe talk about with your employer.
So everyone, we are down to 1:10. I know we're gonna cut off short because that way we can have lunch in order for us to continue. But any questions you have, like we said, you can contact Patricia and Brian directly. Since they know more about this, I know we have broad information that we're giving you and trying to give you the guidance of where to go to obtain the different information based on your circumstance. The other thing we want to take this opportunity is to invite you to our meeting, Latino in Architecture meeting, LEAH. We meet on a monthly basis on the third Monday of every month. So next month is June 21st at 6 o'clock. It will be in person, but we'll still have it live, or I mean Zoom, for those that cannot make it.
No, it won't, Linda.
We're not going to be in person? Okay. So
We'll be in person in July.
in July, okay, but not in June. Okay, so we're gonna do it Zoom. We have people calling in from California, and I forget what other places, because some folks don't have Latinos in architecture within their community. And the purpose of our community is like this, helping each other out, not just Latinos. We, like I said, we mentor high school, middle school, and collegiate level. We do have various events throughout the year. We're going to have Amplifying Voices in July, and we're working on that. And then in September, we'll have our main event, which we fundraise for scholarships for Latino students at U of H. Hopefully we can help out A&M, Prairie View A&M, and Bryce. We've also worked with HCC and Lone Star, and trying to help out the community, trying to plant the seed and show the students that you do not, it's like you can go beyond just high school. And that way they can see people that look like them, be professional. So that's what LEAH is about, and also teaching the community that even though we're under the Latino umbrella, we're all very different. I know in Mexico, the cuisine and the way they speak changes from the north to south, east and west. And I know it happens throughout all over Central and South America. So it's just making sure that we all get to know each other and work together and help each other out in our community. So any questions, you can email the team as it's listed here. The website, go to AIA Houston. Jennifer posted that, where you can download this presentation, and she'll email everyone with the recording and the links and the email to Brian and Patricia. And we'll have this presentation. I'm not going to put Cesar and Luis on the spot, but maybe in July in Spanish for those that I know it's easier. But we like to do this bilingual, so give everyone the opportunity.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, well, have a good afternoon, good week, take care, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys.
Let us know how we
Appreciate
can help you. Yeah, thank you, Bernardo.
you guys have a great weekend, long weekend.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Have a
Thank you,
good one.
everyone,
Thank
for
you,
your
everyone.
questions.
Thank you, Luis. Bye. Thanks,
Take
Cesar.
care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And if you have any questions, just go ahead and email the team. We'll respond and post it on our website. Take care.
Sure thing.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.